There are a lot of unanswered questions, but the thing you can be proud of is the fact that you have a web application running in 10 minutes flat. Now, let's try and answer your questions. First, let's look at the pom.xml. There are three things that you need to understand in the pom.xml. What we did is we ran the web application in Tomcat. How did we download Tomcat? Actually, Maven did it for us. We configured a plugin in here which is called a Tomcat 7 Maven plugin, which takes care of downloading the Tomcat and running the web application in there. So that's your first question. So to be able to run the web application in Tomcat, we use something called Tomcat 7 Maven plugin. There is another plugin which we configured in here. The second plugin which we configured in here is something called a Maven compiler plugin. Maven takes care of compiling the Java classes that we created and also building the jars and the vars. The default Java version which the compiler uses is 1.5. But I'm creating a JEE 6 application which needs minimum of Java 7. So I would want to configure this particular web application to use 1.7, to use the source Java source version as 1.7 and the target version also as 1.7. The way we did that is by using a plugin, a Maven compiler plugin, and in the configuration of the plugin we set source and target. The most important thing about these two plugins is the fact that once we have configured them, we are not going to change them throughout the course. So if you are not understanding them completely, it's okay. Or you might even do a Google search on Maven compiler plugin and Tomcat 7 Maven plugin to understand a little more about them. The third thing in the pom.xml that we have added in is a dependency. We are running a Java EE 6 web application. How do we add the Java EE web API jar to the code? In the servlet, if you look at the servlet, this extends a HTTP servlet. The HTTP servlet is defined in JavaX servlet HTTP. We need to provide this jar to the Java application. So to this web application, we need to add the jar in. So what we did is in the pom.xml, we added that jar as a dependency. If you go and expand the libraries section, you would see in the Maven dependencies a Java EE web API.jar. And if you go in, you would see the Java x.servlet.http.http servlet defined in there. Since we want to create a servlet and we want to use Java EE, we have added in the dependency on Java EE web API. You'd see that if I remove this dependency, let's say I'm removing this dependency and I'm doing a save, you'd see that in the Maven dependencies we don't have anything right now. So we don't have anything in the Maven dependencies. The second thing which you would have is that there is a compilation error on the login servlet, because now there is no HTTP servlet class available. To create a servlet, we need to extend the HTTP servlet, but the HTTP servlet class is not available in this particular web application. The way we are adding in the Java EE API var is by adding a dependency in here. Once we add the dependency in, you would see that all the errors would disappear and we have a compiling login servlet. So that's the pom.xml. The important things in the pom.xml is we added in two plugins. The first plugin to be able to run the web application in Tomcat. The second plugin to be able to compile the code using Java 1.7, source and target as Java 1.7. The third thing we added in is a dependency on the Java EE web API. We want to make use of Java EE version 6 and we are making that jar available as a dependency to this particular project. Those are the three things which are important from the perspective of a pom.xml. The next file we would be looking at is the web.xml. In the web.xml, all that we did is we created a welcome file called login.to. Whenever somebody types in localhost 8080, we want them to go to login.to. That's what the welcome file does. Welcome file is a simple redirection. When you type in localhost colon 8080, it redirects to localhost colon 8080 slash login.do. That's all that's all the content there is in the web.xml. The other important thing which is there in the web.xml is the fact that we are using the specification version 3.0. So 3.0 is the latest version and we are using 3.0. So we are creating a web app version 3.0 and we gave a display name to this particular project as to-do list because we want to build a to-do management application. That's the web.xml. Actually, the content in web.xml is really simple compared to the content in the pom.xml. The last file which we have created in here is the login servlet. The login servlet is a servlet. What does that mean? Login servlet extends HTTP servlet. What is HTTP servlet? That is what we would discuss in the next chapter.